More formatting options. We'll take a look at merge and centering. We're going to create a new line in the same cell by using Alt-Enter, and I want to show you a technique called elbow formatting. I've got a schedule set up so I can demonstrate some formatting functionality, beginning with merge and center. I'm going to left-click B4. The content in B4 you can merge cells, which is true, spills over into C4. And let's say this is a header that's above an area that contains information that's relevant all the way to column F. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and arrow over to column F. And let's further assume that I want to center this phrase in the middle of columns B to F. The easiest way to do that is to left-click Merge and Center in the alignment group, and I'll do that. And two things happen. The phrase "you can merge cells" is now in the center of that block of cells, B4 to F4, and it's centered in those columns. The other thing that happened is that the cells C4 to F4 don't exist anymore. If I go into the name box and input C4, and normally this would enable me to navigate to C4, I hit Enter, C4 is replaced with B4. That's because C4 doesn't exist anymore. And this block of cells, the address is B4. In the second example, I'm going to select B5, hold the Shift key down and arrow over to F5, select Merge and Center, and Merge and Center picks up the content that's in the upper leftmost cell in the range selected. Doing that one more time, B6, hold the Shift key down, go to F6, Merge and Center, and even though the contents in the second example was actually in C5, and the contents in the third example was actually in D6, the Merge and Center function picked up the content that was in the upper leftmost cell. Arrowing down one more time, holding the Shift key down, going over to B7, I left-click Merge and Center, only now I get an error message. The selection contains multiple data values. Merging into one cell will keep the upper leftmost data only. When I left-click OK, the more content text that's in F7 disappears. So there's also a way to merge and center multiple ranges at the same time. For contiguous ranges, this is the way to do it. Use the drop-down, merge across, and we now have merged cells H4 to L4 and H5 to L5. And we have 5 different blocks that we created simultaneously. In order to merge non-contiguous ranges, hold the Control key down and select each one of the ranges independent of the other one. Left-click Merge and Center, and we've merged the cells N4 to R4 and N6 to R6 and so on, and created 4 blocks independent of one another in non-contiguous ranges. You can also merge in 2 directions. So I can merge the block of cells T4 to W9, left-clicking Merge and Center, left-clicking the third option, Merge Cells, and I've created a 2-dimensional merged block of cells. This can be useful if you have the need to have, say, a block of text that's around some columns and rows where you need to keep the distinction of the columns and rows intact for some other reason. All the alignment options apply in every single one of these cases. I can center it in both directions and do all the rest of the alignment manipulation that I can do in any cell, merged or not. So this entire block of cells really functions as an individual cell. And once again, the address is T4. We can see that in the name box. And if I try to navigate to any cell within that merged block, U4, I get T4 displayed because U4 doesn't exist. Another thing I can do is create multiple lines within the same cell. In the prior movie, we wrapped the text, which created the visual impression that there was multiple lines within the same cell. That actually wasn't true, but there is a way to actually create multiple lines in the same cell, and I'm going to open up the formula bar a little bit to do this. Put the cursor in the place where you want to create the next line, press the Alt key, and then press Enter. And you've created a second line, and I'm going to arrow over to the word third, press the Alt key, and Enter. And clicking off of cell B13, the display of the words first, second, third is separated into 3 different lines, and those lines actually exist. This can create some flexibility when entering your text because, among other things, it enables you to start a paragraph, an indent, on whatever line that you want to indent. The last technique I want to show you is elbow formatting. Elbow formatting is the process of doing a couple of things. I'm going to left-click J13, and we're going to do some elbow formatting in J13. We're going to recreate what we see in cell H13 by first pressing the space bar 7 times, then typing in the word sales, press and hold the Alt key, enter once, enter twice, so we've gone down 2 lines, type in the word year, Control Enter, and we're halfway there. The rest of the elbow formatting we create by using borders, and there's 2 borders we need to put into this cell. One is the outside border, and then the other one is, and I'm going to use the drawing tool to draw a diagonal line beginning in the upper left-hand corner, ending in the lower right-hand corner. And I'm going to escape out of that and left-click off of that. And we've got our elbow formatting. Elbow formatting is useful if I had some sales headers across the top, different product numbers, different product types, and the year along the left side down the rows. It's a nice way to define 2 different dimensions on a schedule. So in this movie, we looked at merge and center, which will take the block of cells, merge them together, and align the content that's in the upper leftmost cell in the center of that newly created block of cells. We can merge and center multiple lines at the same time that are contiguous with one of the options in the merge and center drop-down list. We can merge and center non-contiguous blocks of cells by selecting each individually, holding down the Control key as we go, and then left-clicking merge and center. And we can merge and center in 2 different dimensions, across and down, and create, in effect, at the end of the process, one large cell. We also use the Alt key and the Enter key to create multiple lines within a cell that's useful for creating new paragraphs. And we set up some elbow formatting by using Alt-Enter and some border functionality that's useful for defining 2 different dimensions of a schedule.